And hello and welcome everyone to the comic multiverse where the worlds of nerd meet. I am joining you tonight on a very goddamn hot Canadian night. The sun is down and it's still 30 degrees. If you hear a dull roar in the background, that is the only air conditioner keeping me alive. I was telling Matt mine blew up last week and I got a cheaper one that's not nearly as powerful. I can cool one room, so I have left that one room to come and talk to you.
Well, you get to go back to that room later on.
That's the idea. Like, look, if I can at least sleep, that's the thing. And it wasn't the most expensive thing. Literally, that should be the modern day find a needle in a haystack, buy an air conditioner during the summer.
Yeah, it's impossible.
It really is. I had my finger over a cart at Best Buy where it's like, okay, so for like with $800 in shipping, it's an air conditioner and a humidifier and a heater. I'm like, I only want the one thing. When can you get it to me? Probably sometime in August. Oh, so I'd have to suffer for like till the end of this month to get it. Yeah, just to get it. And even then, all the installation and everything. But luckily, Kiji came on through, so I'm not melting yet, everyone. But you know, if I start sweating profusely on camera, I apologize.
That'll just be because we're talking about comics.
Oh, yeah, which always gets my blood pressure going. Actually, have I talked about that before? I feel I sweat on camera a lot when we do shows. And I really do feel like if you hooked me up to a heart thing, like my blood pressure and my heart rate does go up whenever I'm performing for all of you.
I would say it does. I mean, I don't notice, like, with myself anyway, but yeah, I would say it probably does.
Yeah, I often notice during the summer I sweat through my clothes. I feel like someone out there has to be a doctor or a medical student. Come here and hook me up to some machines, and you can write a thesis paper on, you know, the body's impact on podcasting and vice versa. Turns out it's slowly killing you. I knew that.
Yeah, what isn't?
Yeah, tell me about it. Yeah, so we're here tonight. We got all our regulars here. Me, Elmo X, Magmaster, Devin the Great, Jaden, Space Lord. How you been, Matt? How's your week been?
Pretty good. I've been pretty busy at the end of this week, which is a shame since obviously Ghost of Tsushima came out, and I've been wanting to actually properly get into playing it.
I preloaded it on midnight there, and I've been playing around in it for the last little bit. It's pretty goddamn cool. It has some really interesting ideas about progression. I like that it doesn't have a HUD or a regular map system. You literally follow the wind.
That's what that's one of the things, and I might have said it on Twitter or something, but I feel like that's like an actual game changing system they've got there. It's an organic in-world tracking system. It's not like, oh, here's an icon, go to that icon. It's actually all organic. It feels like it's not taking you out of the game or anything.
Absolutely. I'm not looking at the mini map. I'm actually looking at the world that they've built, and it's really beautiful.
It is. It's a really damn good looking world.
Challenging too. I think we can all agree in the early game. Fuck those archers.
Oh, fuck them hard. I tell ya.
I'll be doing really good in a fight. I'll have my counter game on. I'll feel like, you know, like a great Kurosawa samurai, and then oh nope, dead with arrows from off screen. Fuck. You can get moves later that make them less horrible, but yeah, fuck them archers.
Yeah, I always end up trying to like hit them from a distance with like a fire arrow, just so like if it doesn't kill them, it like takes them out of the battle for just a little bit, just so I can kill off all these men.
Yeah, you like your fire arrow, so you can be like, oh, you like it. Yeah, the chat reminded me too. Yeah, Dynamite did a bad. I didn't mention that in the news when I put that together this week because I think everyone sees it. It shows for itself. I'm glad I don't review any Diamond comics, or Dynamite comics, I should say. And yes, they have tried to butter me up in the past, but I never did end up doing anything with them, so I'm in the clear at least.
It's funny because I knew there was a Green Hornet book coming out, and I didn't pay attention to, and it was from Dynamite, and I was gonna give it a look, but I didn't pay attention to who the writer was because that doesn't particularly matter to me if it's a new book. I like just exploring new things, and I'm glad I didn't, because the new writer on that Green Hornet book is fucking Scott Lobdell.
Ooh, oh no.
So it's like a double twofer.
Dynamite, Jesus Christ, we'll take all your garbage and all your cast-offs apparently.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Ruh-oh. But yeah, for anyone who was interested in that, that's about as far as Matt and I go with Dynamite. Again, they tried to butter me up. They sent me copies of The Boys and some Vampirella shit for a little bit. I think I might be on their mailing list, but beyond that, I'll have to get off that at some point.
Yeah.
It's easy enough to cut them out because I don't think their books would have done well on our channel anyway, and now we get to do so and not feel bad about it. But yes, everyone, we do have comic news for the week. I promise this won't just be the Ghosts of Tsushima cast, although it could be.
it could be. You never know. It could be
very
hiding in
well
that tall grass.
Could be. With friggin' tall grass, man, it's there. I'm sure Matt and I will talk about it more. I don't want to spoil for Matt because I'm actually further along than him. It was my birthday this week, so I was able to put some time in on it.
Nice.
Although because of that, too, I also didn't get to read as many comics as I wanted to this week. And there was a lot of comics this week.
There absolutely was. It was like the biggest week since this pandemic hit. And next week's even bigger.
Is it seriously?
Yeah, it was about the same. But like, I think there's at least 4 or 5 Empire books.
Oh, goddamn. Well, I better boogie then on some of these because I would hate falling behind. Like, literally, it came from being like, oh, I can go at a snail's pace because it doesn't matter because there's not going to be that many books to no, if you want to cover these, you do have to actually get to work.
Yeah, I've now got a backlog again, which I didn't before.
Same. So, yeah, we'll try and get through what we read this week as best we can.
Yeah.
All right, what else do we got going on here? In the official news, which I have over on the side, you'll have to excuse me, Skype changed its shit again, so now I need to find where everything is. Speaking of X-Men, Matt, this is a perfect segue right here. Peppe Larraz, one of your favorite artists and one of my favorite artists too. The man has absolutely been killing it on everything he's done. Showed off this week along with a bunch of covers for the upcoming X of Swords events. We got to see the villain team that the mutants are going to be facing in this X of Swords events, and they are the sword bearers of Arrako, whatever the fuck that is. It's the other island, that other island. Yeah,
the island that Jonathan Hickman has been building up between this war, and Apocalypse was involved, and he still might be in some way.
Yeah. I was confused at first because I assumed, like, oh, X of Swords, I bet they're going to be fighting the Four Horsemen. I bet those are going to be the villains, the original Four Horsemen. And I was half right. There's like 8 sword bearers, and at least 2 of them are original Horsemen of the Apocalypse.
Yeah.
And a bunch of new ones whose names are all anagrams of each other, and they're all very weird and very alien, and they all have swords. So the X-Men all need to get swords to fight their swords.
Of course.
That's just how the game is played. It's not like the X-Men could get guns to fight their swords. That's unfair. You need to have swords versus swords.
That'll be the next event. X of Guns.
X of Guns. Oh, you thought Wolverine was deadly before. Now he has a gun.
Yeah, he has guns that come out of his knuckles now. Gun
How
barrels.
How has no one created that character yet? You can literally call him Barrel, and yeah, he has, like, friggin' gun barrels come out from his knuckles. How the fuck have they not invented that yet?
That is trademark of the comic multiverse 2020. If Eddie Ryder uses that, we will sue.
Yes. Original character, very good character, do not steal. As the chat is mentioning, too, there's also a very conspicuous masked woman amongst the sword bearers, which naturally, why would you have a masked character if they weren't going to ultimately reveal to be somebody?
Yeah, they didn't name this character, and it has me thinking, it's like, oh, is this going to be like Moira?
Yeah, really. Hey, I'm in multiple places at once.
They could easily do it as like, this is her setting all of this up to combat Charles, because obviously there's that whole thing where it's heavily alluded that she didn't agree with what he was doing on the island, and he might have done something to her.
Oh, I like that a lot. Or, again, too, because we have multiple clones and everything running around now, and, like, perfect bodies and everything, it would make sense.
Yeah, like in X-Force, they have that thing where you can, when you come back, you can come back with, like, certain memories, or like people might be able to install certain memories into your mind.
Yeah, the chat has a good pitch too. The masked woman is actually Ric Flair of the WCW Four Horsemen. Woo! Woo! I've been alive since ancient Babylonia. Woo! Styling and profiling, me and Apocalypse, wearing $1,000 gator shoes. That's Ric Flair's power to never die. But yeah, so X of Swords looks pretty cool, and it's long too, isn't it? Like 24 parts or something insane.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Like, I saw that and I'm like, wait, X of Swords issue 24. Wait, what? What? I thought this was like a 10-issue event.
Yeah, and I was thinking to myself, like, these can't all be important, right? Some of these have got to be throwaway tie-ins. No, it's part 1, part 2.
Yeah, you gotta fucking read them all. I'm gonna read them all, of course, but yeah.
Same.
Like, Jesus Christ. I wonder if this is like something they did on purpose to be like, okay, we need to get some more new readers on these books, so we're going to make this an event you have to read because it's like, you've got to read like Marauders and New Mutants and all of these things to actually find the whole story.
Yeah, so even books you're not reading. Honestly, I think this is the most old-timey X-Men idea ever, because this is going back to, like, Age of Apocalypse and shit, or Executioner Song. Like, X-Men used to be famous back in the 90s for having stupidly long events, and now they're like, hey, we're back again, so time to get nostalgic with big, long events.
Yeah, and hey, it's going to get, like, I've been meaning to get back into New Mutants and all that for a long time. This is the push. This is the push that's going to make me pick these books back up.
Yeah, that's probably good too. It's like, look, if you haven't been reading all of these, you're going to be starting now. One way or another. I'll be interested to be like, okay, now how much knowledge do you actually need, or can you jump right into these?
Yeah.
So there's your X of Swords, everyone, coming very soon as we are hitting the belated event season. Yeah, as I was saying, as we hit the belated event season.
Yeah.
What else? Now, what else do we got going on here in the world of comics? So, DC had a big new solicitation for October, I do believe it is, and in that solicitation, they announced some new creative teams that are going to be coming down the pipeline. Some are official, and some are kind of soft official. Obviously, Joshua Williamson is going to be wrapping up Flash with 100 issues, and they've already announced the new person taking over, and that's going to be Kevin Shinick-Flash. I don't quite know how to pronounce that.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with it. I looked him up, and he's more of like a TV writer and like actor. He's written like some Robot Chicken and
interesting
some of that Marvel Spider-Man and stuff like that. Yeah.
I know there was like a lot of thought, and we even mentioned this in the last episode. Clearly, something was supposed to happen, whether it was supposed to be 5G or something, that was going to reset the DC universe and everything was going to go back to scratch. And there was a lot of talk about getting TV writers and a lot of people outside the regular comic bubble to come in and write. And I wonder, was this guy part of it? I know Batman was supposed to be taken over by like a new movie writer, and that never happened.
It feels like it because he's like that Batman one. He's like a TV writer, and wasn't there also I'm sure there was someone else that was in like a similar sort of entertainment industry sort of thing doing one of the books, and there's also like a bunch of editors who are doing books as well,
which is very strange. And it's one of these situations where it's like, okay, so clearly these books were maybe not meant to come out, or not meant to come out in the way that they are. And are these going to be important runs to jump onto, or is this, again, as I've said before, just a holding pattern until Death Metal can finish, and then we'll assumedly be going back to new number ones?
Yeah, well, as I said with that, when I did that Flashpoint, that Flash Forward epilogue with Death Metal, it looks like they're repurposing 5G somehow to like fit in as like a soft reboot at the end of Death Metal, maybe?
Possibly. Because again, too, like, we were all pretty sure, so James Tynion's going to be done with Batman at 100. No, he's staying on till at least 101 and maybe a few more after that. So whatever the plans were, it looks like they've changed.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. But yeah, it's going to be hard for this guy to follow on after Joshua Williamson's amazing run on The Flash. Like, it's going to be hard to top that.
No doubt. The other new writer that we know confirmed, Wonder Woman is going to be taken over by, another Canadian, Mariko Tamaki. is going to be taking over Wonder Woman. Her work you'll probably remember from that She-Hulk run, where she was dealing with PTSD. That was pretty solid. She's written a bunch of stuff, but that's the one that I remember really enjoying. And they also changed the cover of this Wonder Woman one, where the first one looked a lot more serious and the new one looks a little bit more playful and comedic. It's Wonder Woman teaming up with Maxwell Lord.
Yeah.
For kind of like a Mulder and Scully weird buddy cop thing, and I'm like, oh, that's a fuck of a pitch. All right.
Yeah, it looked completely different to like what they originally had, which it looked a bit more of like a serious story, and I mean it still might be. It's just a cover.
Oh yeah,
covers lie all the fucking time.
Oh, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, obviously, it's funny. Maxwell Lord, because naturally he's going to be in that new Wonder Woman movie, so they probably want to keep him like relevant again and get him back in, because he's been off the table basically since Justice League Suicide Squad. No one's done anything with him.
Yeah. There were rumors he was coming back, and I guess this is what it was for.
I think Orlando brought him back at the end of his run. His run is either over now or ending.
I think it's just on its last issue.
And I kind of want to hop back into Orlando's run now that I know that it leads to this. Because, I want to give this Tamaki-Wonder Woman book a try. And that's not just because I want to support other Canadians. I also genuinely want to see, like, all right, this seems fucking weird and out there. Let's go for it. Because the thing everyone remembers about Wonder Woman is that she fucking broke Maxwell Lord's neck.
Yeah, I'm a couple of issues behind on his run, but I do intend to, like, finish those up before this run starts, or at least before the first issue.
Right. There was also rumor that Aquaman is probably getting a new writer, or at least was getting a new writer, so I thought, but it seems like Kelly Sue DeConnick is still on the book.
Yeah, again, I think like this 5G was meant to like give all these books new writers. And something's going on. I imagine they're still using these writers just like in different ways now, like just simple one and done stories or something.
Yeah. It's funny. I always thought that, DeConnick going to Wonder Woman was inevitable, because it's like, well, she's the woman who reinvented Carol Danvers and made Captain Marvel. She basically wrote the story that the movie is based on and everything. I'm shocked they never tapped her for that. That seemed obvious.
Yeah, maybe that's why, because it was an obvious choice.
I guess. I would have liked to seen her on Detective, actually. I thought my dream pitch, and I've mentioned this on other shows when they go back to #1, I want Matt Fraction to write Batman, and I want DeConnick to write Detective, and I want this husband and wife team to compete in their household on who's writing the better Batman.
I'd really like her to get on like a Superman book. Have like a woman writer on a Superman book. That'd be really cool.
I like that. That would be very fun. I would read the shit out of that. Also, too, I think we can all agree. Just get anyone new on Superman. Ben,
just one of the books. Just give up one of the books to someone else.
Yeah, why? Yeah, why do you need both, Ben? Well, I know exactly why he needs both. Because it's like, look, I'm going to do whatever I want, and I don't want anyone complaining to editors. So just write both and do whatever the fuck you want. That way, you can only contradict yourself. And I'll contradict myself. So there's your DC news, everyone. One book that was surprisingly absent and something that they haven't said yet, which you would think they would want to rush this news, is obviously who's going to be writing Red Hood now that Scott Lobdell is not only done, but shamed and assumedly blackballed from DC going forward.
Yeah. I have a feeling that maybe because he wrote the character for so long, and he's basically become synonymous with the character. Like when you think Red Hood, there's that Scott Lobdell run,
Sad but true.
Maybe they're like gonna retire the character just for a little bit.
Yeah, let it rest, let the stink kind of wear off. Yeah.
And I mean, he kind of does still exist in that Batman the Animated Series book.
That's true, which is the version I think a lot of people have been waiting to see. Someone had a good pitch on Twitter. I'm sorry if I don't remember you or your pitch exactly, but it was basically something like put him on another team, for Christ's sake. Be done with Red Hood and the Outlaws, but like make him a supporting character in something else.
Yeah. Put him on, like send him to like, I don't know, Justice League Odyssey or something. Or like get rid of Azrael and put him in his place or something.
Hey everyone, I'm here. Or again, when they inevitably redo the Titans in some variety, it would be funny to see Red Hood there, where it's like, well, I was a Robin, I was a sidekick.
As I said, I think he needs to like a complete status quo change, including like costume and name. Like just
Agreed.
Like do something different.
hey, you're Swing Wing again. Remember when we jokingly said that you might become that in a Batman Incorporated all those years ago? And the Swing Wing suit is great.
Yeah, I thought it would have been cool, but it's not going to happen because the character is actually coming back. But I thought it would have been cool if like he would have taken up like the Nightwing mantle for a little bit there.
Yeah,
it would have
exactly.
been pretty interesting.
Yeah, I'm shocked they've never tried that actually in any
Yeah.
regard. Yeah, that would be interesting. Yeah, I'm just looking at pictures of the Swing Wing suit now. Yeah, it's not bad. It's pretty good.
Hell, make him like the Flame Bird to Nightwing's Nightwing.
Oh, yeah. I don't think anyone's that currently.
No one is. They got rid of the original Flame Bird a while ago.
Also, wait, have I got that wrong? Was Swing Wing actually a character from The Boys? I think that might have been. Which character was I thinking from Batman Incorporated? It was something Wing.
Oh,
I know that much.
I can't remember.
Oh God, Batman Inc. was so long ago. Now I gotta search that because I feel stupid for not remembering it. It wasn't Batwing. That was another thing entirely. Which,
was it just Wing?
Yeah, no, it wasn't just Wing. Man, it's so fucked up too that poor poor Batwing. Every version of Batwing can't catch a fucking break, right? Can't get nothing.
No, he was gonna, but yeah.
No, it wasn't Darkwing. No, I don't think Jason Todd has ever been on the Suicide Squad, even though he would probably be like an excellent addition.
That's one thing
team.
that's like really, really confused me about the New 52. That like seemed like a given, like, oh, this dark, edgy character goes to this dark, edgy team, and it never happened.
It was Wingman. That's what it was.
Wingman. God damn it.
It was Wingman, which again is like kind of like fucking silly at the same time. Like, oh, I'm your Wingman, Nightwing and Wingman. Having adventures. It's a cool suit. It's like a bat suit with a visor and everything, and a cape that looks more like a coat. It's good shit.
Yeah.
There, I figured it out, everyone. I'm not stupid. I can use Google to figure out what the fuck I'm talking about. All right, so moving on from Red Hood to another character that is sometimes equally as contentious, but for completely different reasons, and that character is Rorschach, who, Matt, I feel like you and I kind of must have said this at some point or another, and that is like, I could imagine Tom King doing a Rorschach book at some point, and well, he absolutely is. And thanks, Pat Sr., for that. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah. God damn it. Like, when this came out, I was so upset because, like, why do we need like another Rorschach book?
I too was on a similar roller coaster of emotions, because on one hand it's like, well, I sure didn't like how he wrote Batman as, like this crazy weirdo who spoke in broken sentences and pushed everyone away because he was a genuine piece of shit. Man, he basically wrote Batman to be Rorschach. Oh, now he's actually doing a Rorschach book. Oh my.
I think probably the worst thing as well is it's a original Rorschach book. It's not Reggie.
Yeah.
Which, like complete fucking waste of a character.
Totally. What was the point of spending so much time in Doomsday Clock building a brand new, modern, non-problematic Rorschach, only to just go back and do the Kovacs version?
Yeah, and again, like, Reggie was like much more of an interesting character than Rorschach, with his story about taking the Rorschach mantle and changing it into something more positive, like something that affected his life so terribly, and using that as a force for good. I thought that was really interesting. But no, we're gonna go Kovacs and snipers shooting Robert Redford and whatnot. I don't know.
I'm not saying that this Rorschach Tom King book can't work. I'm just saying there's a lot of potholes and roadblocks to it. And also, DC, man, maybe read the room a little bit. Maybe now in 2020 we don't need the racist, sexist, homophobic member of the Watchmen to get a book. Maybe you could have done any of the other ones.
Yeah.
And again, it's not like, I don't think Tom King is so completely up his own ass that he would be like, oh, here's Rorschach, the hero. No, I think he understands that Rorschach is an asshole, and that's the point and everything. But even still, it's hard to get excited. Like, I can't wait to read this guy's adventures.
Yeah, and it's even worse because like how it's going to end. So like the story in the grand scheme of things doesn't even really matter.
No, because the Watchmen story is done. We know how it ends, so it's like, okay, where is this story going to take place? It can't possibly be new, can it? And then I think to myself, well, between this and Death Metal #2, which we'll talk about, I guess I guess the limiters are off now. I guess Pandora's box is open, and we can just keep using Watchmen forever whenever we want now, huh?
Yeah.
Like, say what you want about Doomsday Clock and how long it took to get finished and whether or not it pivoted during the middle part. At the very least, Jeff Johns cared and had a certain, level of respect. And, what is it, for the legacy of Watchmen and its characters, and that, he didn't move them too far, and, he didn't be like, be sure to come back next time to see what they do.
Yeah, he didn't use the characters outside of what they've already been used for. He didn't,
and
but he also at the same time invented new ways to look at those characters.
Yeah, and he put the toys back when he was done, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Now it seems like the toys are out of the box forever now, and it's like, so this is going to be the new normal, huh, for Watchmen moving forward?
Yeah, I guess so.
I'm sure if you, felt a disturbance in the Force a couple days ago when this news was announced, and, when Death Metal 2 dropped, that was just the sound of Alan Moore somewhere deep in his cave tearing out his beard hairs and not knowing why.
Yeah. But yeah, out of all the characters, they of course choose this one. Like, you couldn't do, like, a Hollis Mason story or, like, even build off the stuff that was in Doomsday Clock. We've got Laurie's son, or Marionette's son, who is now imbued seemingly with the powers of Dr. Manhattan. And you got Reggie, you got like all these really interesting characters, but now got to go back to Rorschach because people know him.
Keep going back to the same well. He's basically the poster child of the Watchmen, which is weird to say.
Well, given his character is absolutely weird to say.
Yeah, that he's the one. It's just and like the other thing that hits me too, where it's like, oh, you're doing a Rorschach mini, huh? I guess that means we can't get another Question one, huh?
Yeah, that was another really weird thing. Like, yeah, we've got that one Question one, and even like in the Lois Lane book, like Question was built up all this really, really big character and like important stuff. But yeah, no, the Rorschach, the character that is aping off of the Question.
Yeah. And again, I could be wrong. It could be good, but just for the times we live in and just, given Tom King's own spotty track record, I have to go, really? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I guess. And I mean, I'm sure it'll make a lot of money. I'm sure people will be
absolutely.
super. And also, too, and this is like a side tangent in of itself, another one for Black Label, huh? What the fuck is Black Label even supposed to be anymore?
It's basically whatever. It's whatever.
It's whatever. So it's like, okay, so we can have like outside continuity stories, but also Watchmen stories, but also like just whatever.
Yeah, it's whatever.
It's whatever. It's fucking whatever. We were so excited for Black Label when it started. Now every time they announce something new, I'm like, really?
Yeah, and it's books that don't need to be under Black Label either.
Yeah, that you could just come out with. But,
and then there's books that do come out, like Deceased, that should be under Black Label, but they're not.
Yeah, absolutely not. And again, perfect segue. Stuff like White Knight as well. Actually, no, is White Knight Black Label? No, I don't think it is.
It is, yeah.
Okay, it is actually?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but they don't do the weird...
It wasn't, and then it was.
That's right. It was one of the first ones they put in. You're right. It just missed the cutoff.
Mm-hmm.
And it reminded me of it too, because Black Label doesn't have the fucked up pages thing where they're bigger. So when you and I try and cut our videos, it's always a pain in the ass.
Fucking nightmare.
That's another reason I hate. I just have a Pavlovian response to Black Label. I'm like, oh, it's gonna take me twice as long to fucking edit now because I gotta manipulate every page. But hey, on another note, there, the White Knightiverse, the Sean Gordon Murphy White Knightiverse. We hadn't heard much about it, but it seems to continue to be chugging along there, despite the fact that Sean Gordon Murphy himself has been in pretty much social media silence, follows some stupid comments he made and some bad friends that he seems to keep. But they announced that the first spin-off in this will be a brand new Harley Quinn book written by Katana Collins, and you're probably thinking, that's not a real name, that's a pen name. Who the fuck is Katana Collins?
I don't care, but it's a cool name.
Do you know who Katana Collins is, Matt?
I don't know.
Sean Gordon Murphy's wife.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, she writes romance novels, which I'm like, yeah, that's the name of a romance novelist for sure. And she's gonna be writing the first one. Which again, hey, right on, giving your wife some work there and everything, which is probably pretty uncontroversial too, because I'm sure if they got anyone else, they'd be like, hey, how do you feel about how Murphy's been conducting himself this way? She's like, well, I love the guy, I live with him, ha ha ha. So they get around that. This is going to be a short one. It's going to focus on Harley Quinn. Also from the art too, it looks like maybe they're going to be going back a little bit and maybe talking about what happened to Jason and everything, which will no doubt lead into the new story for when they eventually do the third installment.
It absolutely will. I mean, the last book ended with that as well, so yeah.
Yeah. As Kirk said, I guess it's just adult stories at this point. That's fair enough. Adult stories, most of which star Batman.
I mean, wasn't that the whole thing with Black Label anyway? Like, it was all, like, it was meant to be more, like, mature.
Yeah.
And then they, like, completely got cold feet with the first book because you saw, like, the outline of Batman's dick.
Exactly, which leads me to believe it's like, look, I don't see what you're doing in these Black Label books that you can't do in the main universe anyway. Yeah. Clearly, the big sticking point was nudity, and you're not allowed to do nudity because they'll make fun of you on like Colbert and all the other nighttime shows, and apparently you can't handle that, DC.
Yeah, the books don't do anything different that the other comics do. I think like every now and then there's like the odd swear word, and I'm like, so what?
Yeah. Well, I will burst into flames if a naughty word is read by mine eyes. If you know that. Yeah, exactly. Release the Batwang cut. That's what we really want. We demand more dong on every page. Oh, you think that's bad? Wait until, what is it? Superman must fight his greatest foe yet, the Coctopus. The alien Coctopus.
Like some artist, like Black Mercy design.
Yeah, really. What's a Coctopus? Exactly what you think it is. Yeah, that's what it is. But, yeah, I'm interested in the Harley book. Harley, I think we can agree, was probably one of the best characters from the White Knight universe. She basically was the White Knight of the original story and was incredibly important in the sequel.
Absolutely, yeah. She's definitely my favorite version of Harley Quinn.
She's really good. She's really solid. Between this, the Harley Quinn TV show, and what Taylor is doing with her in a Suicide Squad right now, Harley's on the upswing.
Yeah. She's actually being written by people who give a damn and actually want to give her a character.
Yes, and not just a great design that you can slap on merchandise.
Mm-hmm.
I really hope they pick someone good to write her new solo series, because obviously, again, like I said, things are probably going back to #1 soon. I hope they get someone good.
Yeah, I imagine we'll learn more at that fandom event next month.
Yeah. I know they have those Harley black and white books out right now, which I have not read yet, but they seem to have some really great talent on there. Mark Russell wrote one. Tim Seeley was writing one. I saw, a panel from a issue that came out this week. Again, there's so many like actual books out, I haven't been able to keep up with all the fun digital. And it was like, what the fuck would you call it? Like Andy Warhol's New York. Mm-hmm. But with like a bunch of supervillains, so it was like bougie Bane. It was like Bane, but it was like a really tall woman in a fur coat. And I'm like, I don't know what this is, but I want to see it.
Yeah. His stuff, like Mark Russell's stuff with Harley Quinn, is really interesting. I'd love for him to get that book.
He's my pick for sure. I think they'd be silly not to give him that, because he is genuinely funny. If he was able to write Wonder Twins and get 2 volumes out of that, I think he can handle Harley.
Yeah, and he did that really great, like, Year of the Villain one-shot with her that, like, made fun of the whole event and, like, just was just a fun book.
Yeah, agreed. I think there's a lot of mileage you can still get out of that. So, all right, what else do we got going on here? Here's some Star Wars news for you. One of Matt and mine's favorite things to talk about. We've been saying forever, hey, when's the next Star Wars cartoon gonna be? Because this is like one of the longest stretches we've gone without one. Well, it was announced The Bad Batch will be the next series. Yes, that first arc of the newest season of Clone Wars that totally felt like a backdoor pilot. Well, guess what? It was a backdoor pilot.
This is being touted as like a direct sequel to the Clone Wars, because it's going to be set after the Clone Wars and follow the Bad Batch as a group of mercenaries.
Nice.
And yeah, apparently there was there was two animated projects. There was this one, and then they were gonna do one with the those two women that everyone fucking hated in those Clone Wars episodes with Ahsoka.
Oh yeah, the twins, the one that really reminded me of Rosie Perez but was not Rosie Perez.
Yeah, it was between them and Bad Batch, and I guess like that's why those episodes were in there, just to like kind of gauge,
Test
sort
the
of like
waters, yeah.
test the waters. And I guess Bad Batch won, thank God.
Yeah. Now, that being said, I would still very much watch like an underworld Star Wars show. Maybe not starring those two characters specifically, but I'd totally still watch that.
This can be that since they're going to be like mercenary bounty hunters type sort of thing, and it leads into like I know Sam Witwer, the guy who voices Darth Maul, knows quite a bit about this show.
Ooh.
Like behind the scenes, sort of like he's seen stuff about it, and so it makes me question, it's like, oh, is Darth Maul going to be in the show?
Because there's clearly still a big chunk of Darth Maul's history that goes unexplored between this and Solo.
Yeah, well, between this and how he gets like left on Malachor and all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
As the chat is saying too, oh, so the D. Bradley Baker show. Yes, the show where D. Bradley Baker will voice 90% of the cast, and it'll just be him talking to himself.
Yeah, he's gonna voice that. He's doing the animation as well. Yeah.
Yeah, he's doing it all, recording it in his basement. It's gonna take a long time because he's a slow drawer, but you know.
That must be like the biggest win for a show like that. It was like, oh, like we only need this one guy and he can do all the voices in like a weekend, and then we've got like the whole show.
Amazing. I get a really strong A-Team vibe all of this. Like, if you can find them, you can hire the Bad Batch. I would
love if it was just that, just like a wacky like A-Team in the Star Wars universe. That'd be so fucking cool.
And in an interesting time frame, too, you know, the Republic has fallen, the Empire is on the rise. Do you think this show could have the potential maybe to cross over with some stuff from Rebels? Do you think they'd ever meet Rex again?
Well, yeah, that was like another thing. Apparently, Rex and Ahsoka are going to be in the show. Not all the time, but like pop in every now and then. Because like, I think that's
interesting.
I think that's going to be the lead into how these clones actually survived, like getting the chip out of their brain and everything.
Yeah, they'll have to explain that, won't they? Especially because, as we said before, there's been a little discontinuity on how Rex did it. Where it's like, I cut my own chip out. No, you didn't. I remembered it wrong. I'm old. I said that before we wrote this. My bad. Another guy, JT Wizzy from the chat, the incels are scared that they're going to add a female Fett clone to round out the Bad Batch. That would be interesting, where it's like, yes, and you're on the Bad Batch, what was your defect? I came out a woman, can't you tell? Oh, I mean, I don't call that a defect, I call that an interesting feature. Right on.
The weird thing as well is still voiced by D. Bradley Baker.
He's just that good a performer. He's just that good.
No, it'd be his wife.
Yeah, really. Yeah, I'm interested in Bad Batch. They were a cool group, and I mean, come on, they had that sweet black and red armor. What's not to love?
Exactly, yeah.
Everything about them is just fucking cool, and I bet the show's going to be fucking cool. I guess, too, in terms of writing and storytelling, this will be more in line with Clone Wars, more action heavy than say the Rebel stuff was a lot more story and character heavy. Not to say they can't have story and character too.
Oh yeah, I imagine they're definitely going to have that, and I'm wondering if it's going to suffer from the same thing that all of these animated Star Wars shows have done, which is like the first season is kind of rough, but then you get into the second season and it's just amazing.
That is usually how it goes, right? And I wonder, too, where it's like, so, you know, I guess the idea is that the Bad Batch, you can still worry about each individual member of them, because obviously they didn't make it into the other movies, so any one of them could still die at any moment.
Absolutely.
So that certainly helps. They don't have the prequel protection that a lot of the other characters have.
Yeah.
Which, man, wouldn't that be crazy? They go full Band of Brothers on it, and they all die at the end.
That'd be cool, but as well as like I like thinking it's like, oh, what if like one survives and they like appear in like The Mandalorian?
Or again, what if Din Djarin shows up here at some point? Because again, we're getting into that timeline now where they could still potentially maybe do something like that.
Yeah, I imagine like we'd get more stuff on like Death Watch and like The Mandalorian, since Dave Filoni is pretty obsessed with them.
Very, very. Yeah, we're gonna see that fucking owl again? I hope we see the fucking owl again. I am so hyped about that goddamn owl. Please continue to tell that story, please. They go to Mortis. Because why not? Why the fuck not? But yeah, Bad Batch sounds cool. I can't wait for this. This is totally up my alley. And yeah, you get more Clone Wars. You get more troopers.
Yeah.
It never has to end.
No.
Alrighty then, what else did we have going here? Oh, here's some unexpected news. I really didn't think I'd be writing this one down. Grant Morrison's new series, Proctor Valley Road, set to debut from NBCUniversal's brand new comic company.
Yeah, for some reason they've got a comic company now.
Okay, I guess NBCUniversal just wasn't alright owning everything else that it owned, so now they're trying to get into the comic business. I mean, guys, I don't know who told you this, but comics don't make that much money, and it's not really what many people would call a growth industry. You really want to throw your money in here?
Yeah. Well, we say it's not really a growth industry, but wasn't there that story that came out like just the other week, where it's like comics like in 2020 or something made like $1.3 billion or something?
It had one of the biggest years on record, which
I wonder if they saw that and be like, we want that money.
Oh, almost certainly. And again, good news like that, I'm sure will, do nothing to dissuade all the same mouth breathers. You're like, comics are dying.
Yeah.
Man, I loved when Tom Taylor made fun of those guys. It's like, but the comic industry is dying, really? Because according here, had one of the best years on record, which I wonder if quarantine has something to do with that people had more time to sit down and actually read and get back into comics.
Oh, absolutely. It's the same with gaming. Like, gaming saw a huge rise in thanks to this pandemic. So much so that Sony have upped their production of the PS5.
Yeah, I guess when you got nothing but disposable time.
Yeah.
Nothing else to do. I wonder, too, if NBCUniversal, if they're like, hey, we see all the good stuff that Disney is doing with owning Marvel. Can we own a comic company? No, you cannot, actually, because most of them are already spoken for. Oh, fuck. Well, we'll make our own comic company with blackjack and hookers and Grant Morrison.
Who will bring his own blackjack and hookers.
Grant Morrison just sticks his head in through a window. Hey, did I hear you talking about blackjack and hookers? I want in. Granty wants in. All right, do you have an idea? Oh, I have lots of ideas. I don't even know what Proctor Valley Road's about. I just know it's about Grant Morrison because he's one of those creators who can just sell anything just on the nature of being him.
It'll be some trippy fucking journey through his mind, which I will definitely read.
Yes, which we'll have to check out. Man, why is Grant Morrison not on this new season of Doom Patrol? They totally need him to have a cameo at some point.
I want to say he will. I wouldn't somehow appear in the show or something, or get referenced.
Literally introduce Animal Man and do a version of Coyote Gospel in Doom Patrol.
That'd be amazing.
Where literally, but you update it for modern times. To where it's like, oh, why did I feel like that got edited out of existence? And Grant Morrison is the guy editing Doom Patrol. Because they did actually mention him in episode 1. What is it, Mr. Nobody, when he said who stuck around after the first episode? Obsessive nerds, people who can't change the channel, and Grant Morrison fans.
Yeah.
So Mr. Nobody clearly knows that Grant Morrison exists. So there you go. But this is interesting. I guess we'll keep you posted on NBCUniversal's attempt to get into the world of comics. I don't see it going great.
Yeah, I can't see it lasting very long. Well, I guess it just depends on the content.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a hell of a thing. So I guess with that out of the way, we can talk about... Oh, thank you, Pat Sr., who is now hosting the stream. Appreciate it.
Nice.
I guess with that out of the way, we can talk about what we read this week. I didn't read everything, but I tried to read as much as I can, so we'll talk about that now. Where would you like to begin, Matt?
Well, let's begin with death metal.
Yes, death metal. Which, man, so I kind of like Poopod issue 1. It's not that I hated it, but that I'm just like, God, this is a lot to take in. This is a lot to digest. I liked issue 2 much more, and I think I liked it for all the reasons people ended up hating it, and that is this issue was basically a comedy and didn't take itself seriously at all.
Oh, it's popcorn fun. It's just having so much fun and just being like this whole premise is ridiculous. We're not going to take ourselves seriously. Here's fucking the Batman Who Laughs putting his brain in Dr. Manhattan's body, or a Dr. Manhattan body.
The thing that got me, like, right off the bat, it's like, I'm the Batum. I'm, the Atom and the Batman. And then he gets run over by a monster truck. And then Swamp Thing elbows the monster truck that is also Batman. And that kills it. And I'm like, okay, so this is supposed to be funny, right? Like, there's, like, you are doing shtick here, even though it doesn't look like shtick because everything is, drawn to be like a heavy metal album cover. Oh, this is fun.
Yeah, it's not taking. It's all schlock. It's
Thank
amazing.
you. That's a good way. Thank you. It is schlock. You're absolutely right. And there's nothing wrong with schlock.
No.
So long as you know what you're in for. And I feel like a lot of people don't know that this is schlock yet.
Oh, no, they don't. They're still taking it seriously.
Right. Because again, where it's like we're doing evil Alfreds are doing brain surgery. This is schlock.
Yeah, while Wonder Woman plans on going into the dark multiverse to steal crisis energy and use it to stop a giant woman god. It's schlock. It's absolutely schlock.
It's schlock, and that's good. I did love, Batman and, like, the superhero crypt there, waking up a bunch of Golden Age heroes, which I wonder, is that how they're going to justify all those heroes coming back to life and being part of shit now? Where it's like, oh yeah, Batman brought them back to life when he reordered the universe.
Maybe, yeah. And as well as, like, I'm guessing the end game's going to be them remaking getting the energy and remaking the universe. And yeah, it's just going to bring everyone back to life.
And that's going to be their fresh start right there. My favorite bit is that you see, like, all the original, like, JSA members and all their names on the graves, except for when you get to Black Canary, who is just obscured because Batman is standing in front of it. I'm like, yes, because that's the original Black Canary, Black Canary's mom, but we can't talk about that because that'll make your fucking head explode with continuity. In fact, I don't think they've ever addressed that, which I love the idea that Batman's standing in front of that.
Yeah.
And so, yes, there's apparently an alternate universe out there where Bruce Wayne became Dr. Manhattan, and the Batman Who Laughs saved that body so he could become unto a god, and so he could fight Perpetua too.
Yeah, it's very unclear whether that actually is Dr. Manhattan, because they talk about how the body's like, it's not an actual body, it's like an energy construct or something.
Right.
But yeah, I'm guessing that's like kind of what happened, and yeah, I love as well that they're having fun with they know everyone is kind of getting sick of the Batman Who Laughs, and that's the point of why he's in this. Like, there was in that first issue, he references, he knows everyone is sick of him.
Yeah, which again, the fact that he now has the power seemingly to break the fourth wall. I like when he becomes the Darkest Knight. They should have called him Dr. Bad Hatton because it's right there.
That was my joke, and you stole it for your video title.
Did I really? I didn't think I did. I thought I was being clever about that.
And last week I said, not last week, in the first edition, I said, oh boy, I hope that's Dr. Bad Hatton.
Oh no, I don't remember that at all. Maybe you incepted in my mind and I didn't even know. You steal my dreams at night, Matt, and replace them with Dr. Bad Hatton. Well, if it makes you feel any better, it didn't blow up the way I wanted it to. No, so, yeah. That's fine. He becomes the Darkest Knight, which I almost feel like that's Greg Capullo taking the piss out of everyone. Like, I'm one of the best goddamn artists in the thing. Here's my new character. He's a black splotch.
Yeah, he's a shadow, basically.
I don't have to draw shit. No.
And hey, I like that they finally gotten rid of that long-winded name, the Batman Who Laughs, and now he's just the Darkest Knight.
Thank you. I agree. I was getting very sick of saying the Batman Who Laughs.
Yeah.
Needlessly long, but yeah, so definitely some cool shit going on in this issue. And again, it's schlock, and I know it's schlock now, and I'm going to be grading it on a different scale now because it's schlock.
Yeah, I fucking love schlock, so it's good in my book. And yeah, it's even more so schlock with the ending where they're like, oh, here's like this thing that probably half the readers don't even remember back from when from Jeff Loeb's Superman Batman run in the early 2000s. Here's the fucking
2007. Yeah,
here's the Toymaker's robot composite Superman Batman Wonder Woman.
That's right. What a fucking reference.
I was so excited for that. I was so
What
excited.
a fucking reference. I can only imagine, because that's a great run, and what a fun thing to call back. And that it's now the new one is Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman.
Yeah, the Trinity bot.
Love it, love it, love it. What do you think Apocalypse is going to look like in this crazy world?
Well, I think in that map, it looks like Apocalypse is like where Metropolis was at the start, where they have that like map of the new world and it's the shape of the bat. It's like where Metropolis was. So like I imagine because obviously Superman is there. Yeah, it's gonna be like a hellscaped Metropolis maybe.
Interesting. I like that a lot. Also, Lobo is still hanging out the periphery of this story, and Sergeant Rock is still narrating.
Yeah, I have like it's not gonna happen, but I have this thought that like oh maybe Lobo's going after that box Green Arrow had.
Oh. Oh, man. If he brings back the box, I will fucking cheer. I will audibly cheer if they work in that goddamn box in any capacity.
In this fandom event, spam Scott Snyder. What was in that box, or like is
What?
that box coming back?
Just that meme over it. Oh, man. Shit, we should totally write that, because you can write questions into the fandom. Yeah, we should totally. You're absolutely 100%
Everyone go
correct.
spam that with what's in the box. Tell us what's in the box.
Just put the meme there from Seven. What's in the box? What's in the box?
We're probably the only ones who remember that.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, 100%. No one read that Green Arrow run, which is a shame. But yeah, so that was Death Metal. I enjoyed it because it's schlock. A lot of people didn't seem to enjoy it, but maybe they'll come around.
Yeah, people are still thinking it's like a serious book like Doomsday Clock or something. Because I guess probably because it has Dr. Manhattan in it. Like when they see that, they realize it can't be schlock and can't be fun. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, who can say for certain? I guess the other big event that this week came out was Empire, the first official issue of Empire. No more prologues, no more preludes. This is the realest dealest.
And it was really good.
It was, wasn't it? I dug this one too. I totally saw the Kotati heel turn from a mile away, but that still doesn't mean it wasn't well executed.
I saw it a mile away. Yeah, it was really well executed. I thought they were going to run with that a little bit longer than they did, and it was going to be like an event that's like, oh, they pit these two sides against each other with like heroes on both sides, and they got to fight and the ideologies and stuff. But yeah, just this first issue is just like, the Kotati are, evil.
They've been growing weapons in their magic garden in
They're
the shade.
rightfully so evil because, the Kree and Skrull turned on them first. There is like a morality to what they're doing, but yeah, they end up, I guess, murdering half the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, kinda. It sure looked that way. They got planted, did. Yeah. I love Iron Man's bit where it's like, dude, we've been fighting the Kree and the Skrull forever. You don't think I'm not, like, readily knowledgeable about their technology? You don't think I can hack their computers and take them down in an instant? Well, I did.
Yeah, hear Thor throw this at them.
Throw this fucking hammer at them, man. I love that bit too, and Thor being like, oh, so you think you're a king now, Hulkling? Let me show you how heavy is the head that wears the crown, or how heavy is the arm that throws the hammer. Even Black Panther had some good ones in where he's like, man, Super Skrull, you used to be cool, man. You changed.
Yeah, what happened, man?
And Super Skrull, I was never cool. You wouldn't understand.
Yeah, you're a filthy human.
Yeah, in a cool-ass mech suit.
Yeah, all the team got like some really cool stuff. You got that. You got like
they did.
You got like Ghost Rider turning the Quinjet into like a Hell Charger Ghost Quinjet thing.
That was fucking dope. I like they're like, let's let Captain Marvel do the talking. I'm like, as you should, because she has military experience and she has this big long history with the Kree. Exactly. She should be the one to talk.
Yeah.
So yeah, lots of fun stuff. Ooh, She-Hulk might be turning against them maybe because they're like, oh, they taught me how to meditate, the Kotati, and gave me a new amber hammer. I'm like, oh, did they now?
Yeah, they've turned her back into normal Jennifer, basically.
Which I'm very interested to see the immortal She-Hulk thing from Ewing.
Yeah.
I'd like to see them grow on that, especially because Ewing had a pretty interesting thing in his own book as to what might be wrong with Jen.
Yeah, I imagine that's going to all be like put together in that one shot.
You'd certainly think so. Everyone else was quick to tell me too that, man, Sequoia looks like Kotal Khan, and I'm like, yeah, he does. They all buy their same get-ups from, what is it, ancient Mayan Urban Outfitters.
Yeah, the big surplus store.
where everyone gets their shit. But yeah, Empire is fun. A lot of cool stuff. I like they make Hulkling sympathetic in a really interesting way, because both Iron Man and Mr. Fantastic are like, what the fuck is wrong with you, Teddy? Working with the Pursuer and the Super Skrull, these guys are villains, you dumb kid. You don't know what you're doing. He's like, shut up, guys. I know what I'm doing. I stopped a war. Yeah, I stopped a war between two races. What have you guys done? And I just love that they're both clearly talking down to this kid and don't realize what they're doing, and I thought that was fun.
Yeah, they're way out of their depth.
Yeah, I'm like, this is why there's a champions, guys, when you adult heroes keep talking down to young heroes. But yeah, it's cool. There's going to be some fun tie-ins. I didn't read the Fantastic Four tie-in, but I did breeze through it.
I read it, yeah.
Yeah, they go back to Earth. We get to see more of those kids they liberated.
And they seem to be very important to the story, because obviously well, in that book we learn that they're actually like the combined histories of the Kree and Skrull empires respectively. They had all the knowledge. That's why they were made to fight in that arena. They have all the knowledge, and because of that, the Gotati send a evil cult called the Dark Harvest after them to cull them to get rid of the history of the Kree and Skrull empire. And it's up to Val and Franklin, who take them to Yancey Street to protect them, and they put out like an APB for like anyone who can help, and Wolverine and Spider-Man answer the call, but they get there too late, and Wolverine actually ends up maybe killing the Skrull child, maybe. Yeah,
it wouldn't be the first Skrull he killed.
Well, that's the thing, like she was transformed into like a tiger, and he stabbed the tiger because the tiger tried to like leap on Alicia, because these beings somehow know Alicia is involved in this somehow.
Oh shit, and, that sounds pretty interesting. Actually, I might have to check that out.
And yeah, he ends up like stabbing her and doesn't realize it was a child. Yeah, it seems very important. These tie-ins seem very important.
I mean, considering that they cancel all those other ones, I'm guessing the ones that they kept would have to be the most important.
Yeah.
Chat say there, hey Matt, are you guys gonna read that Maestro miniseries they're talking about from Peter David? Yeah, maybe.
Probably, yeah.
Might check that one out. What else came out this week? Oh, we had an X-Men book this week, but I will say this was not my favorite X-Men book. That was giant-sized X-Men Magneto.
I haven't read this one yet.
Kind of boring, actually.
Yeah.
Really unexpected. Here's the thing. So Hickman clearly does a lot of stuff here where it's like, okay, so none of this is important now, but this all might be important later.
Okay. So it's like basically just set up.
Yeah, like Magneto wants to get an island because Emma Frost wants him to get her an island, so maybe they're forming an alliance off to the side. Magneto can't get the island because turns out Namor owns the island.
Oh, god damn it. Goddamn ocean property.
I know, right? He apparently he wanted off some Danish people during World War II, and I'm like, that's fun. And I'm like, oh, okay, so Magneto and Namor are hanging out. That's interesting. Because, Namor basically told them all to fuck off when they formed Krakoa.
Yep.
And that he wasn't going to be part of their hippie-loving sex fest because he had all of his own sex fish going on himself, so he was good.
Didn't want to share.
Didn't want to share. No, Namor's not sharing his mermaid tail with nobody. So they team up, and, that should be a bigger deal than it is, but it isn't. And Namor's like, cool, I'll give you the island, because, I've worked with Emma Frost, and I know she gets whatever she wants. Help me with this siren problem. And so they meet, the Greek sirens, and they do that test thing from, Indiana Jones.
Oh, really?
Yeah, with the cup. And Namor fucking whiffs it, but Magneto's smart, and he doesn't whiff it. And then that's kind of the story.
Does he, turn old, and there's, for some reason, a Nazi pin?
I won't spoil it for you. They do something funny with a conch shell, but it's and then the story's over, and Magneto gets a key from the sirens, and I'm like, well, this means nothing now, but I'm sure it will mean something later.
Oh, I guarantee it.
And he builds a new tower, and it has a sentinel face for some reason.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, that's a weird bit of interior decorating, but all right. And that's the issue. And I didn't love the art. The undersea stuff was cool, but some of the faces were weird.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Not my favorite one. The other two giant sizes were much better. The fun mansion story with Nightcrawler and the silent story with
Yeah,
Storm were much
yeah.
more creative.
Storm and Jean Grey one was really good.
Yeah, this one wasn't great. It's not bad, but you expect more from Hickman at this point.
Yeah, again, it just sounds like setup, and maybe it's gonna pay off somewhere down the line.
Yeah, I mean, I could totally be slapping myself in the head later and be like, oh my god, he brought back the tower, he brought back the key, holy shit. But as it sounds right now, that wasn't great. What else did you have, Matt?
I had the final issue of Jimmy Olsen.
Oh, holy shit, that finally came to an end, you don't say.
Yeah, and it's kind of required reading now.
Ooh, you don't say.
Yeah, so the whole story is about the whole book has been about Jimmy searching for who's trying to kill him, who's trying to assassinate him, and everything. And he did learn a couple of issues ago it was his brother Julian because
yes,
he's like doing all these things against the family and everything. But yeah, this last issue really took things in a way I didn't see coming. One is that Jimmy Olsen is now the owner of the Daily Planet.
Oh shit, that is important.
Yeah, for someone who's outdated and old and doesn't serve a purpose now, modern comics now is one of the most important characters. Another thing is he's related to Lex Luthor.
What?
So throughout this whole event, at this whole story, we've been getting like backstory on like how his family came to Metropolis and was one of the founding families, and another founding family was the Luthors. And at some point, they married into each other, and they do it really, really well. This issue where it's like Lex kind of knew this whole time and was keeping it a secret, because you ever wonder why Lex Luthor had orange hair? It's because his family married into the Olsen family.
Oh,
and
shit.
He's technically Jimmy's uncle, or like uncle twice removed or something.
Oh, wow.
And the best thing is Jimmy ends up having him buy the Daily Planet because of old like family laws that they have to abide by, where it's like if a family member votes on how the financial holdings of the family are used, something it's like some jargon or something, so he basically kind of blackmails Lex into buying the Daily Planet and making him publisher, and in doing so he will leave Lex alone, because Lex told him it was Julian who killed him, but Lex didn't leave well enough alone, and just trying to like pin it on himself, because he's Lex Luthor. He has to tell people that he's the grand genius he is. And yeah, Jimmy doesn't care. He records the whole conversation, so if he wanted to, he could send Lex to jail, but he doesn't want to. He wants the Daily Planet to be bought out, so they will be fine, because that's the whole thing in Bendis's run with the Daily Planet is suffering from them outing the Invisible Mafia as the owners, and because of that, the paper's going to be like shut down by the government and everything. But Jimmy bought it all out, and it's all fine now.
Oh, huh.
Yeah,
I'll be damned.
It's a really important book. I didn't think it would end up being it, because the whole book is just like wacky Jimmy Olsen adventures,
Golden Age shit.
Yeah, and then it just turns into this like, oh, this is actually really important.
Also, now that Matt Fraction is done with that, maybe they can move him up to something with more eyes on it.
Yeah, Batman.
Yeah, Batman. Fingers crossed for Batman.
Give
Come
him
on,
Superman, give him something.
Yeah, give him anything. He's Matt Fraction. Come on.
As long as he goes with the artist, well, Steve Lieber. He's a really good artist, and he the stuff he did in this Jimmy Olsen book was just fantastic.
Yeah, it looked really good.
Yeah.
Speaking of big things, the last book I actually read this week, again, I know I'm really slow this week, guys. I apologize. It was my birthday, and there was Ghost of Tsushima. I promise I'm going to read more. And we did this show a day early, so I didn't even have time to catch up on that. But the last book I read this week was Venom 26, and this was fucking huge.
I've still got to read this book, but yeah, I flick through it and I'm like, oh shit, this is awesome.
This is goddamn massive. So Eddie is still missing his arm from the last arc,
Mhm.
and he's desperately trying to find someone who can help out his son Dylan, because they know Null is coming. They know he has some weird connection to this hive mind, that he has these powers, that he might not even be human. And Eddie basically just throws up his hands and goes, okay, I'm not smart enough to understand this. We need to find someone smart enough to understand this.
Yeah, and that's where they find the Maker.
The Maker, who has basically been hanging over Eddie and been a thorn in his side since the first arc. And he's kind of been off doing his own thing. And the last time we saw him, the Maker was talking to the Council of Reeds.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, can we even call you a Reed technically, because you don't have an Earth anymore? Yours got destroyed. And the Maker's like, no. I'm pretty sure the Ultimate Universe is still out there. But, getting to another universe might kill me. Luckily, I think I figured out how to do it, and that is the symbiotes. The symbiotes have always been able to travel between universes, and if I can use one like a spacesuit, I can totally get there. And he has the ultimate Venom symbiote, which he says, this one was created in a lab, so it's not connected to the hive mind. It's synthetic, so it's basically invisible to Eddie's suit. It can't see it, and because, it was created through science, the Maker has upgraded it. Now it's stronger than Eddie's suit.
Yeah, I like that scene where, like, Eddie confronts him and, like, he gets the Maker gets the symbiote on him, and it, like, kind of wraps around him, and, like, oh, shit, that's awesome.
It's very fucking cool, and you're thinking, wow, that's insane. On top of all of this, there's a new villain who's chasing after Eddie, a person who's running around in what is clearly some reclaimed War Machine armor that's been painted up.
It absolutely is a War Machine armor now that looking at it through this issue.
Yeah, 100% that's just been painted up to look like the Venom symbiote, ironically, much like the Punisher painted up the War Machine suit to look like the Punisher.
I wonder if it's that same suit.
It could very well be. I don't remember what happened to the War Machine suit at the end of that story.
I don't either.
But this person is calling themselves Virus, and they have a bone to pick with Eddie, and it's that classic, Enrique Montoya, you killed my father, prepare to die. And Eddie's like, I don't even fucking know who you are. So, which obviously pisses off Virus more. Virus fucks up the Maker's lab, which means they all end up tumbling through Maker's portal. And they all seemingly end up in different places. The Maker actually gets back to the Ultimate Universe like he wanted, Earth 610. 1610. It's still there, but it's really fucking destroyed. Like, it's almost completely gone, which is apparently exactly what the Maker wanted.
Yeah, I think it's like, just before it actually gets destroyed. Because, like, there's, like, the sign saying, like, where are the Ultimates? And all this sort of stuff. Yeah. So, yeah.
So he's super. Yeah, again, it could be the same universe at a different time. We're not exactly sure. It's a hell of a thing. And Eddie and Dylan, they're either in the same universe or somewhere else, but wherever they are, it looks like Null is taken over because Null's symbol is everywhere.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is fucking crazy. Again, just when I think, Donny Cates is going to be resting on his laurels and, Venom won't be as amazing anymore, he takes it into a completely different direction.
And this was the first issue in that arc.
Yes, this was just issue 1 of a new arc. Like, again, if you told me 5 years ago, hey, Joel, Venom's going to be one of your favorite books, and also, oh, hey, they're going to bring back the Ultimate Universe, I'd call you fucking crazy.
I'm pretty excited for the Ultimate Universe to be coming back.
Again, we don't know if it's coming back. It still might just finished off getting destroyed at the end of this arc. Maybe this is Donny Cates being like, well, let me play with it just a little bit before you put it away.
It could be, but it could also be one of those things where it's like, okay, we'll bring it back and we'll see how people react to it. And if people really want it, we'll bring it back. It'll be different, but we'll bring it back.
Again, I feel one of the reasons they probably kept the Ultimate Universe away as long as they have is because of the Bendis connection. It was Bendis's baby. It was his creation, more or less, and keeping it gone was their way to spite him. But bringing it back under someone else and making it popular again without him might also be another way to spite him.
Yeah.
What's that old saying? The best revenge is living well. Well, the best revenge is bringing back your universe and doing it without you. That's a whole conversation in and of itself. Should the Ultimate Universe come back, and if so, what form could it take?
Yeah.
Especially because, as far as I say, the Ultimate Universe does exist. It's called the movies.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Like, literally all the best ideas the movies took from the Ultimate Universe. That's my thing. Where it's like, nah, it never went away. They just became movies. But yeah, that's all I read this week. Do you want to lightning round some more if you have them, Matt?
Well, the other book I read was Justice League issue 49.
Oh, yes. This is the start of a new arc, yes?
This is the second issue in the new arc. Written
Right,
by
okay.
Cy Spera, who wrote the Dr. Aphra books.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, this new arc is called Overlords. It's actually really quite cool. It's very Wonder Woman centric, and it's
Nice.
about in the first issue, the League go to they respond to a distress signal, and it takes them to a planet where there's two opposing factions: the Way of the Cell and the Way of the Spark. And they both have
Are
different
they
ideologies.
Transformers?
Basically, the Sparks they're like cyborg people, whereas the Way of the Cell are like all like natural, organic, and everything. And they were ruled by like an evil empress, and the League sort of like step in to like help. And Wonder Woman is kind of sort of reluctant to do this because she doesn't want to become a ruler, and kind of says as much to the Justice League. We're heroes, we're not rulers, we're not designed to rule these people. And the League
How very Star Trek.
yeah, the League, like, while they don't intend to rule, they want to help, and that means leading.
Right,
And in this issue, it's really well done because Diana relates it back to a story of an ancient queen on Earth, a giantess who did pretty much exactly what the League are doing, where she saw all these warlords, ruining people's lives, so she killed them all and took over. But because she was a warrior or a hero, she didn't know how to rule, and that's exactly what happened to the League. They took over, and they end up doing all these things wrong, where they mean well, but they're not realizing that they're doing bad. Like Batman, the races have like two separate communication fields, and the Empress was in charge of both of them so she could manipulate them. And he decides to combine them, and the problem with that is the Way of the Spark, when they get organic signals, it's like, as Wonder Woman puts it, them getting a blood transfusion from a sewer, it like hurts them. And Batman didn't know that. Flash ends up stopping a mating ritual, which to him looks like cannibalism, but it's not.
So it's one of those road to hell is paved with good intentions type of stories.
It's the League trying to figure out all this sort of stuff. Superman's trying to stop like these missiles heading towards the sun, but he learns that they're not actually missiles. They're the people's souls that go into the sun when they die. And if he were to stop them, he would be stopping people from getting into their heaven.
No heaven for you, says Superman.
All this really cool stuff, and I just like that it's focusing on Wonder Woman, because it would focus on her because she comes from an Amazonian race that is like, she came to like man's world and didn't install her like beliefs on them or anything.
And she's royalty, yeah.
So she understands it all, and as well, I think this was meant to be timed for like when the movie came out as well.
Right, yeah.
So yeah, it's actually really, really cool for just like a quick sort of filler arc. It's really good.
Sounds very classic science fiction.
Yeah, it is. It totally is.
I might have to check that one out. That sounds like a good sales pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess that's the show this week, everyone. Sorry it's not as long as it normally is. Again, this is what happens when we do a show on Saturday. Matt and I haven't had as much time to read as much as we normally do.
Mm-hmm.
But again, thank you so much for hanging out with us for an hour on Saturday night. We hope we're able to bring you a little joy there, a little entertainment, a little distraction if you need it. What do you got planned for the rest of the night, Matt? I feel like I got to go take a shower right away because I don't know if people can tell, but I have sweat through my clothes yet again.
Well, I'm looking to do like a bunch of reviews, and then I'm probably going to reward myself with more Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah, there you go. That sounds like a good way to do it. What quest was I doing before we started? Ooh, I got the Ronin outfit. I am all about that Ronin outfit.
Oh, I was just about to start that quest.
So I can finally look like the dude from Samurai Champloo, and if I color it white, I can be Samurai Jack.
Yeah, I just got to get enough flowers to buy that big hat.
Yeah, man, doesn't that sound fun, everyone? We need flowers to buy hats.
And it costs a fair bit.
It does. I couldn't believe that. I'm like, what is the best hat behind all the flowers?
Why is the flowers currency?
Yeah, it's the damnedest. Well, it makes sense because it's like, oh, a war took place here, so the money's
Yeah.
no good anymore.
That's true.
I mean, shit. The Mongols are after rice. It's all about rice. Give us your rice.
And sake.
Rice and sake. Man, I actually love what they did with the Mongols in this game because it would be very easy to make them like, oh, they're basically the orcs. They're a mindless fucking horde of killers. But no, right off the bat, they're like, no, the Mongols are smart. They conquered most of their known world at the time because they were really fucking smart. Like the main villain, the Darth Vader of the Mongols is like, no, I speak Japanese. I know your tactics and your culture. That's why I'm gonna be conquering you.
And he uses that to an advantage, especially at the start where like that guy like confronts him, and he like and that samurai thinks he's gonna be honorable, but he's like, no, I'll just like throw a bottle of sake at you and then set you on fire.
Wow, what a power move! What big dick energy from this guy.
Yeah.
Also, the game is interesting too because like Tsushima's not real. That's a fictional place, but like a bunch of the people are real, or at least from lore. When it's like, oh, I am the grandson of Genghis, or whatever. I'm like, okay, so this guy is related to Genghis Khan, and then you got like Yamato and Adachi and all these other like clans, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure those are things from places.
Yeah, it's a bit of like fictional and real, and yeah.
Yeah, a little magical realism there going on. Especially when you learn the super moves, and they're like, yo, and there was this guy, and he was such a badass, he fought the lightning himself. I'm like, well, clearly that didn't happen. Clearly the lightning just angered a bunch of wildlife, and he fought that. No, man, he fought the lightning demons because he was such a badass.
Yeah, he could harness the lightning into a strike, and this guy tried to do it, but lightning just hit him and burned him to death.
Yo, and he slayed the sky monster with the bow and arrow, but he was cursed. No, he clearly just went crazy. He clearly just had like Alzheimer's or something.
Shot a seagull out of the sky or something.
Yeah, and that drove him nuts. And I'm like, okay, I dig the magical realism.
Yeah.
As the chat says, I think a lot of people are related to Genghis Khan. Yeah, because all the Khans did was ride and fucking conquer.
Yep.
There's trees in Mongolia that are related to the Khans. That's my favorite Patton Oswalt bit from the last little bit where he like did that 23andMe, and it's like, well, I got all the pasty countries that I thought here, and then a big spike in Mongolia. What? Oh yeah, Genghis Khan. Everyone's a little related to him. That's how much riding and fucking they did. And on that note, everyone, I will be riding off into the sunset myself. Thank you for coming and watching the show with us, and Matt and I will be back again next week, probably on our normal day and time.
Absolutely.
All right, so until then, everybody, bye-bye.
Bye.